So tell everybody what the fuck just happened.
We're getting right into it just like that?
Yeah, that's it, bro.
And then I have to leave in 20 minutes.
Okay,
and you guys will continue.
That's what happens when you're late. You just get thrown into the fire here. What happened was I was an hour and 10 minutes late to the podcast. And I apologize. And I know you both secretly are trying to be nice, but you secretly want to kill me.
No, I promise. Not at all.
Okay,
you see how we're kind of casual.
Yeah, we pulled up to the Shore Hotel in Santa Monica, and I looked at the Google Street Maps, and I realized like this is not where I'm supposed to be. So
no, we are
This is the very opposite of where you were.
Yes,
it's the complete opposite. Yeah. So long ride here, but glad to be here. Big fans of both you guys, obviously the TV show and stuff, and love you both.
Big fan of you. And anybody who doesn't know, this is Bob Menery. And so when I met you, we were at a dinner. And you know, like I hate fucking going to dinners and I hate small talk. And it's just another thing where you're like, all right, I'm here because my friend Ron was in for the weekend. So I'm like, of course I'm going to go see him or whatever. And I'm expecting small talk. And you, 2 minutes into meeting you, like you pointed out the window and you were like, yeah, I used to live out there. And I was like, what?
Yes, I had a time where I lived in my car for 2 months before kind of had any sort of momentum or success, I guess you could say.
And it was only a couple of years ago.
It was 3 years ago. I was caddying in a country club and work was kind of slow. And so I ended up I kind of mismanaged the small amount of money that I was making due to a couple things that I think you know about probably.
Yeah.
And ended up, I had a Jeep that I got from a member that I needed for a car. And I drove around to looking for nice neighborhoods. I parked my car. I put a blanket and a pillow, put the seat down, went to sleep for 2 months. Had a membership at the YMCA in Hollywood, which is fucking disgusting, by the way. Absolutely gross.
Yes.
By the way, it looks so sad. I fixed it. I don't look at it as a sad...
No,
He's all right.
I'm not. I promise. I'm sorry that I'm giving that face.
No, it's okay.
I'm enjoying not enjoying. I'm listening.
You can get enjoyment out of it. I get a complete enjoyment out of it.
Things have turned around, Jamie.
Things have turned around.
I'm inspired by your story.
Yeah, so then,
he could show up an hour and a half late to a podcast now and it's no fucking big deal. He was homeless 2 years ago. Shit,
I'm so sad about that. I showed
Dude,
up
it's
late.
all good.
Anyways, but yeah, so just kind of, my routine was go to sleep in the car. And obviously I was on drugs.
Yeah.
Like I had issues. And I would go to the YMCA. I would take a shower because it was like $30 a month. And then I would get out, I would change there, and then I'd go to the country club, and I would wait and try and get a golf bag to carry. And it's weird with the caddy art. It's almost like it's like a prison almost. Everybody, they have their like sections, of like.
Do you only get paid if you caddy?
You only get paid if you caddy, yeah. So you get it's basically based off tips.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes you can wait upwards of 5 hours before you get a job, so you get there at 6:30 a.m. If it rains, you're fucked.
Right.
Yeah.
You can swear on here, right?
Yes.
You can do whatever the hell you want.
Sweet. Yeah, so that was it. And then, got a little bit, I went back to Boston and had, a little video kind of go viral out of the blue and then kind of built over time what I have.
So how did the video go? Like, how did you go from A to B?
So I was in the car, my buddy finds me Ernie in the car finally after 2 months. I never told anybody I lived in the car. Like I would go out with my buddies and like have some drinks and stuff because I, again, mismanaged money. I think drinking was more of a priority than finding a place. And so ended up my buddy finds me. He's like, yo, dude, we're calling your parents. You're going home. I'm like, what do you mean you're calling my parents? I'm like 28 years old at this time. Yeah. Calls my parents. I get on a plane, go back to Boston. I'm there for like a week. And I went to LA to try and be like an actor, comedian. Didn't have the same success you guys had. And failed miserably. So when I went back to Boston, basically, I went to my brother-in-law's like, you got to apply for a job, whatever. So I go to a liquor store to apply for $11 an hour, hand out my application. My buddy texts me. He goes, hey, you want to come to this music video? You can be an extra in it. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Excited. He had like 2,000 followers on YouTube or something like that. Ended up going to, thank you. No,
I was actually itching.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if I have something on my face, that's the least.
It's like a thing for me. I will tell you.
It's your assistant's blood.
Yeah, exactly. And so I ended up going to this music video shoot. It's like 3 a.m. I randomly go into this room with this guy who I'll never forget his name, obviously now, David Justin, and his girlfriend. It's just the three of us. And I always used to have this shtick because what I do online is I create like parodies. I do like what sports announcers want to say but can't. So I created my own network that like is fake. And basically that night I'm sitting next to my buddy, David Justin, and end up doing my shtick like Rodgers, Brady here on ESPN, like whatever. So he filmed it and basically went to bed. Somehow it got put on the internet and just went mega viral.
Like immediately.
And the next day I woke up and it was like bling, bling, bling. What the fuck? Who died? What's going on here? And then and it ended up going, I guess like I experienced what it was like to go viral. So I had like all these calls from all these like agents, managers and stuff.
And did you have an Instagram at the time, like your own Instagram?
I think that I had one created, but I...
Homeless Caddy?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Homeless Caddy. Yeah. Crackhead Homeless Caddy.
Homeless Caddy 3?
Yes.
There's a couple of you out there. You're not the first.
Exactly. And so then, it just started doing these little video game glitches to start. And then kind of just, I got obsessive over it. Like I remember when I hit like 10,000 followers, and as strange as that seems nowadays, it's fucking relevant.
Yeah, of course.
And so then just kind of kept going and going and going, and now I'm just a fucking crazy maniac. And
my husband showed me your videos a long time ago. I remember.
Oh, really?
Loving them.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's definitely a market that really I don't think anybody's really ever tapped into, and that's why I think it spread and grew so quickly. Is because it was an original product that nobody's really ever done. So.
And now you have a podcast?
Now we have a podcast, yeah. It's going good. We started that we're in episode 23. So, yeah, I mean, I had no idea what I was doing going into it. I didn't know.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, right? It's just intimate conversations.
It's just a conversation, right? Because I still don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But we've had some good success. Because what I was pretty good at, because when I was doing these videos, like it took me like 5 minutes to do. And then I just put them online. It would reach all these views. I'm like, what the fuck do I do the rest of my day? And so early on, what I was good at, I was just good at building relationships. I knew that would be the most important key to success. And so I just DM'd like a crazed girl all these like famous guys nonstop for like a year, and then built relationships with these guys. And so, yeah.
That's how Jamie found her husband.
Yeah. Just DM'd as
You went right
many
to the
young
DMs?
athletes as I could.
That's awesome.
Speaking of Jamie's husband, that's a good guess for your podcast. Jamie's husband's father is Lenny Dykstra.
No way.
Yeah. So he'd probably be a good guess for your...
Lenny or Cutter?
No, Lenny. Lenny would be a great guess for your...
I don't know where Lenny is right now, but I'm sure he would
that's
be
why he's a
great
good
guest.
fucking podcast guest, because nobody ever knows where he
Fuck
is.
it, I'll take anybody at this point. I love that. Lenny Dykstra, that would be a great interview.
Have you ever... Because I shit on social media a lot just because I think it's when people say like, oh, I'm addicted to my phone and I'm doing it because it's work, I think it is a good thing. But when I see like 16-year-olds who live in their phone and they don't experience life, I'm like, oh, like it just fucking gets me. But it's like, then I see somebody like you who it's like Instagram. Have you ever reached out to the people at Instagram to tell them your story of like, I was a fucking homeless caddy and because of Instagram now I
was thinking about doing a deal with Apple, trying to get a deal with Apple done, because I've done everything with my cell phone, literally the Apple iPhone literally changed my life. I don't use a computer. I use the Apple iPhone and whatnot. I never really directly reached out to Instagram. But I mean, obviously their platform kind of helped shape and create my life.
Yeah.
So
I could just see like a commercial of like fucking, or even like a 10-minute movie of like 10 people who's like, yeah, Instagram changed my fucking life.
Well, like you said, I mean, you weren't looking to do anything. There was just something that happened to be like an untapped, thing that nobody's ever done before, but you weren't that's the beauty of it. I think something can be created that you didn't even realize you were creating.
Yeah, I mean, I remember doing this shtick. Like, what my shtick was literally like, I have a good, I guess, like sports announcer.
I was going to say, did you always know you have a great voice?
I
think
you
always told that?
Best.
It's the best.
I think in high school is my earliest memory of having it. I think like I started doing this, like talking like a broadcaster, and then I just kind of kept trying to improve on my voice and stuff like that. But I always I'm telling you, I was nuts. Like even when I came out here to be an actor comedian, I didn't go to one audition, one stand-up thing, because I had a lot of fear. I just had a lot of fear to do anything. Yeah. Like I just couldn't go on stage. Like I literally would sign up for open mics. I'd be sitting there and then my name would get closer and I'd just be like, I'm out of here, peace.
Oh, I can imagine.
And just be able to fuck
seems
up.
like the scariest thing to me. I say it all the time, stand-up shit.
So like, but now like obviously with this stuff, like you get used to it. I just kept doing as much things I can, forcing myself to do things, and now kind of the fear has kind of gone away because my confidence has kind of gone up a little bit, so that kind of makes up for it. So yeah.
Do you feel like because I know you're doing 60 days sober, right? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like the fear comes back a little more when you're like, oh shit, I have to do everything sober?
I'll tell you what, doing this 60 days sober thing has been the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I mean, first of all, I've been so effective over these, I think it's day 19 right now. But I just have a lot on the line, and I angled this bet to, I get, first of all, if I do 60 days sober, I get it's $50,000 for St. Jude's charity. Children's Research with Cancer.
Yeah.
I get Michael Rubin's got to pay a house at Coachella, which might be canceled now because of the coronavirus, for $20,000 a night. Christian McCaffrey, the Panthers, has to name drop me in 6 interviews in the NFL.
That's so good.
Yeah. He has to in 6 interviews in the NFL season has to like subtly drop me in. So he has to be like, rough game today, obviously. Like, we tried our best, just couldn't get it done. Bob Menery's the man. And, so I set this up like big.
Did you set all these up? Like, this is so
I needed to make the incentive really big for me. And I knew that if I made it big enough, I wouldn't fail. Yeah. And the big one is the kids with cancer thing, because like, A, it's going to be a great thing, but B, I look like a fucking asshole if I drink now. The kids, they're, St. Jude's gets fucked. So I'm not going to allow that to happen.
When's the last time you did 60 days sober?
I've never done 60 days sober.
So since from the time you had your first drink or whatever?
I've done 30. I had a 30-day challenge, and I made it 29 days and 4 hours.
Oh.
And what happened?
I thought the plane was crashing. I thought our plane was crashing, so I was freaking out. We were hitting turbulence. I wasn't a good flyer at the time, and so I ordered a couple cocktails last minute. I pushed out. It sucked.
Does that have something to, I wonder, like, you weren't a good flyer for a long time. When you got sober, you got better? Or no? No,
I was always taking Xanax to fly, and then just like 2 years ago, probably, I took my last Xanax, and I was like, I don't want to do it anymore because it would fuck me up for days after. And Xanax is like, I'll fly the plane.
Yeah,
like,
but I'm saying you're a better flyer now that you're sober? Like, you don't freak out as much?
No, I think I'm just better at managing my anxiety now that I'm sober, no matter what it is. So I have the same feeling going into it and leading up to it, but I just know, like, when you're, I didn't spend 24 hours sober for, I don't know, from the time I was 16 till I was fucking 30 or whatever. And when you're like that, it's just everything is so, like, you don't trust yourself to deal with things. It's just it's such a mind fucking, it's so crazy. Where now I'm like, okay, I know if I freak out, here's what I can do. I run through the fucking things. I figured out, I've read about when you're flying on how to fucking, it's like you want to feel the seat under your ass. It's like, that's what you want to think, because it's real. It's really there. And okay, I could feel that. Okay, you feel, and you start to just like talk to yourself. There's all these little things that I do to like calm down. Where when I was fucked up, I never looked into stuff because I knew how to treat it.
Right.
When you were fucked up though, so you say you were more nervous to fly if you were fucked up or if you were sober?
It's the same. I just deal with everything better now that I'm sober. Like, no matter what it is. Like, before, like, I've said this before to Jamie, but like, when I was going through life, partying and everything, it was like going through life in a car, like on a highway, where like, oh, there's a really bad fucking accident, and you're just kind of like, you go by it, and then all of a sudden it's, what's the next thing? What's the next what are you going to see now? We're like, sober, it's like you're walking. And everything is like, okay, you really have to fucking deal with this. So you learn how to deal with things better, because you have to. Otherwise, you're just going to fucking lose your mind. So it's like all the shit that I've had to do. I haven't, my birthday was like 7 years-ish that I haven't been fucking, did any hardcore stuff. And you have to learn how to deal with things better. Otherwise, you're just going to fucking fall apart or fucking
relapse.
Go back. Yeah, relapse or whatever it is. So when for the 28 years of my life before that, I never figured out, like, okay, when things are going wrong, how do I deal with it? Because the answer was always in my pocket. It was like, I just fucking will drink, or I'll just, so it's like, and then when I was doing a lot of coke back in the day, it was like going through life in a plane. Like, it's just like, like, you're just like, haha, like, what, you're like, what even is that? Like, you're like, everything is just a fucking blur, and nothing. No, and then the same, like, painkillers is like you're sitting in a fucking movie theater and everything is dark and you think you're watching a movie. Like,
I never fucked with those things. I couldn't. The painkillers, no. I did dabble back in the day in the thing that you just talked about, but that is in the past.
Don't tell Apple.
Thank God. Don't tell Buffalo Wild Wings either. So.
It's all like, I always gravitated towards those kids, where it was like, oh, the fucking weed and the mushrooms and the acid and the this. And I was like 15 and I had done all that, and it was like, and I fucking liked all of it.
I've never done the I'm too paranoid, and I still, because the drugs are totally in the past for me. But I was too afraid to do mushrooms because I've heard some like horror stories.
The first time my husband did it,
right.
or originally the only time he did it, he had like a whole eighth and like saw Creed, like his arm wasn't his, all that kind of stuff. I think that they're made better now, and like you can dose it better, like they're made in chocolate form. For me, anytime I've done it, it felt like more of like a therapeutic thing. Like, it was fun and like it was like an enjoyable experience, but it also felt like there was like a lot of like growth that would come from it. Like drugs for me were never recreational. It was more like I just never did drugs growing up. I didn't smoke weed until I was 34 years old.
Right.
And I was never been a drinker.
That's a random age to start smoking weed.
My son was 2 years old, and I was like, I need a vice.
Cool.
That's what everybody does on their son's second birthday, right? You just start fucking...
Just light up a blunt. Happy birthday, kid.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome. So, but I think, don't you have to be in... Aren't mushrooms like you can have that thing that's called a bad trip?
Yes,
for sure.
Fuck that. I don't want fucking demons coming out of closets or anything like that.
I've never seen things on them.
Oh, the first time I ever did it, I took 2 8s, and it was my birthday, so like everybody was there to see you, so that amps it up even more, and like everyone's hugging you and fucking cheer. So the first time we ever did mushrooms, there was 20 of us, something like that, in my friend's apartment. And I went to Jersey to get them with my friend. We did like such shady shit to get these because shrooms were hard to get in New York, where everything else, like pills, everything you could get wherever. So my friend, we're all sitting around the living room, and my friend is sitting there, I'll never forget, and he fucking has a drink like this in his hand, and he has like this, and he goes, and nobody's tripping, by the way. We're all like, are these fake? It's like 45 minutes. He goes like this. He pours out his entire drink on the floor, and he looks up, he goes, is this what shrooms are like? And we all started laughing so hysterically that when everyone stopped laughing, everyone in the room was tripping.
Yeah.
And we were all like, holy shit. And for the next like 4 or 5 hours, it was just nonstop laughing, giggling, fucking, we're just smoking cigarettes, smoking weed. And everybody has like an aura about them. So there's like this like orange thing going on. And it's just everything is, it's kind of like with most drugs. And what the great thing is, like, the ego just totally goes away. Like you can't even imagine.
That's why it's so addicting.
What do you mean? You get more confident?
No. It's like your ego is like, what I say is like that narrator in your head, right? Like that's talking while we're sitting here, whatever you're going through your, narration of how you're seeing life. And like, did I say that wrong? Or I shouldn't have said that. Like the thing that's talking while we're talking, that's gone. And so that's why it's so addicting, I think, drugs, because it's just like you're present.
Right.
You're fully here, present, and you get to like look at somebody and fully enjoy them for who they are without judgment, and you're happy, and you're it's an elevated experience that you can find through other things like Rob and I talk about, like with meditation and stuff, where it can give you that same
You
high.
guys meditate?
Not like Rob.
Are you serious?
Not like Rob.
I can't fucking do it. I can't picture myself sitting there.
Do you ever do guided? Like just with an hour?
But that's the thing.
I work 24 hours a day on my cell phone like a psycho, and I never meditate.
When people say they can't meditate, those are the people who need meditation. If you could just sit
I'm
there,
well aware that I need meditation.
Yeah,
Trust me,
yeah.
I fucking need meditation 100%.
You could just do 5 minutes.
But that would be like if you
Rob
said
will
I
send you some
can't.
apps.
If you were like I can't sleep. It's like, well, no, you can. You do it a bit. Like, there's times where it's like, man, I feel like I can't fucking sleep tonight. I have so much on my mind that eventually you fall asleep. This is the same thing. It's like, maybe you could do 60 seconds now and you do 2 minutes, 10. Like,
what do you do? You sit there with like your legs crossed and do this thing?
No. Sometimes like I did it in the Uber today because we were fucking running late and shit. You could do it anywhere.
Was the Uber driver like, what the fuck are you doing back there while you were meditating?
You probably press the don't talk button, do you?
No, I can't do that. I
always like putting my buddies in the Uber, like if I order them one, and I always like put like,
The
please talk a lot. And then I put like, I'm like steam them out. I like turn the temperature up because they have that option now. So I'm just like warm. But I always tell them like, I'll send a side message. I'll be like, I don't want it warm. I want it really fucking hot in there.
So
I'm really weird. And I'll be like, keep talking to me. Even though if I don't seem like I want to talk, talk to me.
You know what the thing is basically when you like with the ego going away with drugs and stuff, it's like if you watch a 2-year-old and like his diaper and his fucking belly's hanging out and he's just looking around and he's doing whatever he wants. He's not
judging himself.
What society, it's like, oh, I want to fucking pick my nose right now, and you pick it and you don't judge anyone for doing what they do. It's just kind of like we're all existing instead of being like, oh, in my childhood, you learned that this makes something a bad person and this makes something a good person. He's wearing those fucking... Like, you could never be on drugs and be like, that guy's wearing fucking $10 sneakers.
Right.
Like, that doesn't exist. Not because of anything except for it doesn't exist. It just completely goes away. It's like whatever society shit that is put out there and that we put on each other and that like, even if you were fucking... If you went to Santa Monica and you were an hour late, you'd still be like, hey man, it's okay, like life is gonna go on.
Aaron, did I say that to you?
You'd be like, life is gonna go on in 2 weeks from now, we'll forget. It just puts like everything that feels important that's not, it kind of pushes it to the side.
Right.
You
But
guys,
speaking
I
of
love
important-
you.
Yeah,
It is
hey,
important
this
'cause
is
I
my
have to
fault.
pick up
Go.
my kid.
This is my
but
fault.
You continue this.
Let's get
I'm
some
sorry.
pictures.
Hold on. I want to get a...
All right, so Jamie had to go, guys. She has kids and real life and responsibilities, and we only care about ourselves.
That's it. We're selfish human beings. Rob, it is good to have you here. Actually, I'm sorry. The other way around. I'm so used to doing my thing.
So so the thing I wanted to ask you is how, when you decided to do a podcast, because the night that we met, I thought you were going to kill your co-host, the co-host of your show.
Yeah.
You wanted to, basically it was kind of the same energy that you have on your assistant right now, but it worse.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy, by the way. First and foremost,
He
I'm
is a very nice guy, but,
I wanted to kill Timmy. First of all, I wanted to kill Timmy because we had Ryan Lochte in, and Ryan Lochte was this Olympic swimmer who got in a little bit of trouble in Brazil for that incident. I think vandalizing or peeing on. Remember that story?
Yeah.
He got like a lot of shit for it, so it kind of went away. Now he's going in to compete for the Tokyo Games and whatnot. So I wanted to have him on the show. So I spent like hours talking to his agent, trying to convince him. He was in, he was out, he was in, he was out. I was going back and forth with this fucking agent, and I'm stressing to the agent that we run a very professional fucking podcast. That you come in and we make people look better. We don't want anybody to ever leave the room and like for a story just get something out to make them look bad. Anybody that comes in the room, it's a safe place. That's what we like to try and do. And I think that like you try and do as well, probably.
Yeah.
So I was stressed forever how it's going to be a professional environment, blah blah blah. Well, the problem was we had our fucking episode on a Sunday, and that's Sunday football. And my co-host Timmy Bounceback loves to drink, and I'm telling you, turns in, starts off, you'll never, nicest guy in the world, and then cut to 8 hours later, drinking all day, zapped out of his mind. It turns into fucking Twister 2, the movie, running around Hollywood. So we bring him in, fucked up, out of control, bring him into our podcast studio. I'm like, oh my God, he's hammered, but I still have to pull this off because I told Ryan. So I'm kind of coaching Timmy while he's hammered, which is impossible to do. I tell Kevin Conley, who is producing our show, hey, don't have anybody in the studio. Let's keep it low key. Tim's fucked up and I got to keep it whatever. I walk in, there's fucking Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, sitting right there. I'm like, fuck. Timmy ends up going over to him, being like, hey, to use your spidey senses playing poker, all fucked up, blah, blah, blah. Ryan comes in. Timmy was hammered on the air, so I vetted a little bit on I kind of was upset about it, but now he's doing a good job. He's sober again. That's
good. Yeah, because when I saw him, he had that that blind person look in his eyes where where you're, because you were trying, I think we were at a dinner and he was bothering Robert Kraft.
Yes,
a little bit, and you were fucking. But you were like, it wasn't you being a bad guy. You're a very nice guy, but you just had to tell him chill.
Yeah, it was a very important dinner. Obviously, Michael Rubin was there, Meek Mill, Kraft, fucking the guy from Snapchat. It was just an important dinner. And I texted Timmy before. I said, are you drunk? He said, no. And then all of a sudden, here he comes. It was almost like slow motion when I saw him. Because I know when he comes into an environment and he's hammered, you can't get him out. So what he does, he walks in, and I see it. I look over, and I'm like, fuck. He had that look in his eyes, came up, and then 10 minutes later, he had Robert Kraft in a headlock. So
yeah, I know, and I know that feeling of seeing people show up drunk, but I also know the feeling of waking up the next day and being like, oh my God, somebody asked me if I was drunk, and I said no, and I went to that thing, and I feel horrible.
Yeah.
And luckily, Sopranos would give me a little leeway because people wouldn't be like, who's this fucking drunk asshole showing up? Because it would be more like, oh yeah, he was on Sopranos, and then 50% of the people would be like, oh okay, and just kind of let it slide.
Right.
Where
nobody's telling you what to do.
Yeah, they're not or they would. They'd be like, who's this fucking asshole? Or somebody would invite me to an after hours at 4 a.m. where even I was too drunk for the after hours,
right.
and they'd be like, man, get this guy out of here. And somebody would be like, look, he was on Sopranos. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly,
it's fine.
Yeah, you find that when you start to have a little bit of success, people aren't they wouldn't, there's not everybody that's going to pull you aside because they think whatever you're dealing with inside or whatever problems you might have, they're not going to pull you aside because they think you're in a spot where you are because you were successful with the show, is great and fucking whatever, but nobody's going to, I don't think, come up to you and be like, hey man, you're getting out of control, because you already are doing something that's great, and so they're not going to really see that problem. But obviously, me and you both know there was a fucking problem there for both of us.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, it was fun for a little bit. There was fun times of it.
Amazing.
But never looking back, never going back there again. Learned my lesson. I always say, my dad gave me the best advice ever. He said, look, you're going to make mistakes in life. It's going to fucking happen. What's the next best thing you can do? That's it. So you're going to make a mistake. What's the next right thing to do?
Yeah.
Whether it be fucking making your bed, whether it be for anything. You know, what's the next right thing? So I've always lived by that. So if I make a mistake, I'll be like, fuck, and I'll get mad. But I'll be like, you know what? What's the next right thing I can do?
Yeah, that's why you're like, oh, I'm an hour and a half late, and you're like, I'm going to make up for it.
Yeah, well, now I'm like sending in. Now I'm gonna be sending in all my celebrity athlete friends in here for you. And when I make a mistake, when I fuck somebody over, I go like above and above and above and beyond for them. So this is gonna end up working in your favor.
I'm happy you were late.
Like I said,
bro.
Your site's gonna crash from all the fucking 16-year-old fucking Ripper Magoo fans.
When you check your fucking assistant's Venmo and you see a bunch of money from me, it's from something else.
Perfect.
Don't worry about that.
Love it.
So have you, obviously you have Buffalo Wild Wings, you have great things going on. What's like the worst fucking job offer you ever got where you were like, is this for real?
That is a good question. What is the worst job offer I've ever gotten? God, off the top of my head, fuck.
Any insane request or?
I mean, the funny, this is pretty funny. Is I did these things to kind of in the beginning. I didn't want to take a lot of like brand deals and stuff like that because I just felt like it was like, I don't know. It just I wanted to hold out and kind of just wait, to do stuff. So what I do to make money was I created these ability for what I do, create custom videos over people's personal videos that they have. Like I've gotten some requests to commentate some pretty insane things because I had a feature on my site. I can't really do anymore because I'm getting a little like fucking busier but it was good income when I was doing it. Sure. I would charge like $150, $200, and I would do custom videos for people. And some of the ones that I got sent to me were fucking. I mean, I had people like send me videos of them fucking.
That's what went through my head.
And I went through with it, and I did. No, just kidding. And people like literally like doing drugs, like crazy shit. So that was probably the craziest stuff I ever got was some of the custom video requests that were sent to me.
I was actually yesterday, I was walking down the street and there was a guy who, on a busy street at noon, was standing there with a Bic razor shaving his head on the fucking street in the middle of and not like I stopped for a second to do one thing. He was doing a full self head shave on the corner and he didn't look homeless. And I was like, I want to video this so bad for you to fucking announce it. It's like what, like there's people walking by with the look of like, because there's the people who are like me who have lived in cities like New York where you're like, yeah, it's another fucking loon. And then you have people who have never seen anything like this walking by where they're like they're just so fucking thrown, and like the people's reactions are just as good as the fucking guy standing there with a Bic razor in the middle of a busy street, shaving his head bald.
Get me that footage now.
Dude, I wanted to do it so bad, but the one thing I was like, I know one thing about this guy. He's crazy enough to, two things. He's crazy enough to shave his head in the street, and he's holding a razor blade.
Yeah, you'll get snapped.
Yeah, so I decided, I was like, you know what? I just got to fucking let this one go and whatever, but man, it was so great. And he was like, he wasn't doing it in a crazy way of like a manic, like, dude, like he was very like feeling for like spots and like getting them again. I was like, wow, this guy's like, it was super interesting to watch.
Like I said, some of the videos that you get from people that send in stuff is fucking, that would be like a nothing compared. That was a video I would do. If somebody sent me the video of shaving the head razor thing, I would do that one. I would take that. Who's
the person who you wanna meet through this who you haven't yet?
I think Tom Hanks would be a very cool guy. Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio, I would love to have on my podcast. He doesn't do any of that stuff, but I'm always trying to find an angle, way to make it happen. But Hanks would probably be a guy that Obama too, not saying any of my political affiliation, obviously either thing, but I think Obama's just a very interesting guy. And
would you have Trump on?
The reason why I wouldn't have Trump on is because what I think it does when you involve politics in anything, it just divides your audience. And regardless of my political beliefs, which are, like I said, I mean, I try and stay as much involved as I can in the elections and all that stuff. But, it's just a very tricky little time where you can't really, even if you're dead right and you side with somebody, bring up, it's just not worth it. You're going to get bashed from one side. So what I try and do, and I just play a neutral playing ground, that's just, I'm not in politics. That's not my goal. My goal is to try and make people laugh online and bring joy to their fucking everyday lives through being an idiot.
So who did you want to meet that you have met? Like, who was the guy where you were like, that's it?
Well, DiCaprio was the guy I've always wanted to meet, and I don't get starstruck really. But I got starstruck when I met DiCaprio because I was at Michael Rubin's party in New York, and there was about 150 people. There was like a who's who of the party. I don't know what the fuck I did belonging there. I mean, I was just a friend of Michael. But when I tell you, like Gucci Mane, Meek Mill, Robert Kraft, Leonardo DiCaprio, like it was a fucking stack with people there. So I was just walking. I had a couple drinks. I was with Saquon Barkley. We were having some drinks, partying, whatever. And so I go up and I go to the bathroom. And I'm telling you, I was the most diehard Leo fan on planet Earth. Like, I just loved Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's a fucking amazing actor, blah, blah. So I'm going to the bathroom and walk over, and I'm walking beeline of the bathroom, and I walk, and I do a kind of one take to the right. In my head, I go, holy fuck, that's Leonardo DiCaprio. Be cool. And then, boom, double take, and I just attacked him. And was like, oh my God, Leo, I'm the biggest fan. I used to watch your videos, like, growing up for motivation. And the thing was, he had to be so nice to me, I think, because he didn't know if I was, like, Michael Rubin's, like, retarded cousin or something. Like, and, like, he didn't know. Like, he was just, because it was, like, a who's who of the party.
Yeah.
And so he was just really kind, and he was like, oh, thanks so much, and all this, blah, blah, blah. And then I just was, like, looked at him, and there was, like, 5 seconds of silence, and I was like, all right, man, see ya. And then just went to the bathroom, and like was the whole party now just like people were talking to me. I was just like looking over my shoulder at Leonardo the whole time, like fascinated.
Yeah.
So DiCaprio, yeah.
I had met Tom Hanks once.
Oh, you're so lucky.
He said something. He gave me a very nice compliment, which I can't even repeat because it's just so. I know he was lying. There's no way. You know, like I just know, like, wow, this guy's so nice.
What did he say? You're a better actor than me?
No. Then we.
I want to let you know, Rob, you're a better actor than I am.
Yeah, I watch your videos for inspiration. No, he was just like, I love your work, like some shit like that. And I'm like, this guy doesn't know. Like we were at like.
He knew. The Sopranos was a fucking huge show.
No, we were just at like the Emmys, so he knew like I was somebody, I think, and he wanted to say something nice. But I was like, that's one of those moments where I'm like, what? Like, yeah, you're all right too. Like, like, what am I supposed to fuck? I'm just like, dude, not only are you the greatest, but then it's also like, you could just tell, like, the way he was and his energy was like, you seem like the nicest fucking guy.
What's your favorite movie that he's done, you think? Tanks. Oof. And I think mine would be the one with him and DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can.
That's a good one. I just think like what really sticks with me with movies is when you can watch a movie now or fucking 40 years from now and you're like, yep, like it didn't skip a fucking beat. And Forrest Gump, for me, is just so fucking good.
It's crazy. I mean, I don't even understand. I mean, like I said, I tried to do the acting stuff and whatnot and just didn't have any success at all. But is it like, and you might know better than I do, are these guys like really like losing? Like, are they, when they're done shooting, do they go home as the person?
There's totally different people. There's people who do that. There's people who want you to call them their character's name during the day when you're and like, listen, I wasn't a good enough actor to do any of that, so I couldn't be like, hey, call me AJ. Probably would fucking punch me in the face. But there definitely were, there was a scene in Sopranos where like I had to commit suicide, and that was a day where like I didn't show up in the same kind of like, maybe like jokey fucking push, like whatever it is, like if you're messing with the camera guys and you're joking around and laughing, and like it was in January. It was in New Jersey. People were always like, oh, you shot that on a studio somewhere? I'm like, no, I had to fucking, because in the scene, I tie a bag around my head with a rubber band. I tie a cinder block to my foot. I throw that in the pool, and then I jump in the pool to commit suicide. And it was fucking January in Jersey. It was like 8 degrees outside. So when they're like, how were you? So I'm like, I wasn't looking forward to do any of this stuff. So I was already there, but the director was like playing this really like dreary, emotional music all day. And that was one of those, like, I imagine, there were a lot of scenes for me where I just fucking walked in, I grabbed something out of the fridge, I made some douchebag comment and walked out. So it's like, I'm not going to show up that day like I'm preparing for my role and like all this shit. But I could see someone like, Daniel Day-Lewis or somebody like that.
If you have to sustain it over a course of a fucking
like if you're playing the fucking Joker, it's like, I understand if you're not, sitting around with just a fucking coffee and reading the fucking comics in the newspaper, if they even have those anymore, or like whatever lighthearted, like I could understand staying in that kind of vibe and that. But then there's actors who don't need to do that shit at all. There's actors who 5 minutes, 5 seconds before the camera goes, they're fucking making faces at the camera and fucking around. And there's all different types, and it's actually cool to see it all.
You know what was a great show that just reminded me of? Remember Inside the Actors Studio?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that was where the fuck did that go?
Yeah, I mean, that guy, I feel like he was 90 when it started, so...
They got to bring it back. They got to bring it back somehow.
I don't know that. Yeah, they should bring it back with somebody, you know.
Same setting, same kind of theme with the music and everything like that. And if they need to get obviously a new host, you know,
bro,
look I'm putting it out there. I'm available.
This
Very
is inside
available.
the Bad Actor Studio. Ask me whatever you want. Go ahead. Neither of us.
Well, this is the thing. I plan because you're coming on my thing later, so I've got a boatload of shit to talk to you about that I'm very excited about. Because I know we met through Mark Birnbaum, and he kind of told me real quickly about your story. And obviously, I watched Sopranos and was a fan of the show, and so I'm excited to have a little one-on-one little talk with you about some stuff, because I think we share a lot of similar views on life, and I think that we both have a history of stuff that we've overcame, and for the better, you know.
Yeah.
So
so back to cool people you've met. Mm-hmm. Tell everyone what happened with you and Steph Curry.
Oh, Steph Curry! I played him in golf at Riviera Country Club, and I'm always I like to gamble. So
how did you first meet Steph Curry?
Oh, the DMs! Come on, the DMs. I was like a Instagram model, like DMing all these fucking guys. I was psycho. So I don't know, and I think that a lot of these guys too. Look, my brother-in-law once said to me, he's like, "Dude, there's going to be a moment." I remember we were in the kitchen in Boston. He said, "There's going to be a moment where one day maybe that these guys are going to finish their games and they're going to go back to the locker room and be like, hey, I hope Bob did a clip on me, or Bob, I hope he didn't make me the fucking shitbag titty fuck." I'm like, there's no fucking way it's ever going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it's kind of happened a little bit, and it's pretty cool. So Steph Curry, you know, just talked to him, set up a golf game with him. It was me, him, Brian Zurif, and this Saudi Prince guy. It was a random group. Went out, played. We set the stakes. 30 days of wearing his jersey if I had lost. 30 straight days. Couldn't take it off.
And what did he have to do if he lost?
He had to implement my name in 6 interviews throughout the season. You know me. I'm fucking crafty. I'm trying to get everywhere. I'm trying to infiltrate the leagues. So, because certain leagues don't like me, and what gives me the best, you know, thrill is when one of their biggest players endorses me, and then they're like, all right, what the fuck is going on here? What's Bobby doing? But anyways, yeah, so ended up losing on the 18th hole. And when I tell you, I didn't take that fucking jersey off for 30 days. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
And it was like, if you got caught without it,
I'm a fraud.
Without wearing it, what happened? What was the repercussions?
I'd have to cut my right leg off. No, I'm just kidding.
The left one I couldn't live without, but the right one kind of gets in the way.
No, if I get caught, I would just be a fraud.
Right.
So the first 5 days were fucking awesome. Like, I had the jersey on, I was walking around town like I was the man, like feeling good, like I just lost a bet to Steph Curry. Like,
could you imagine if you made it to 29 days and 4 hours, like you did with the fucking drinking thing, and then something just happened where like you thought the plane was going down, so you had to take your shirt off?
I had to create like a tourniquet or something for somebody to like
their arm.
Yeah, that would be the worst. But anyways, yeah, the first 5 days were like fucking great, and then by day 15 I was thinking about doing the scene from Sopranos that you did, committing suicide, because it was fucking literally impossible. I would have like a meeting at like Elefante or something in Santa Monica, and I'd like walk in, they'd be like, sir, where are you going? I'm like, I have a meeting upstairs. And they're like, yeah, unfortunately we don't allow sports memorabilia. I ran into so much sports memorabilia stuff in a restaurant, and I was like, oh. They're like, yeah, but the undershirt you have underneath is fine, you can wear the undershirt. And I'm like, no, but I can't. And then they're like, what are you talking about? I get in this debate all the time with people, and they're like, I'm like, well, I lost a bet to Steph Curry in this thing. They're like, yeah, okay, kid. Okay, keep walking.
Right.
They're like, get this crackhead out of here. So, yeah, I ended up doing it for 30 days.
Aren't you that guy who bothered Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, exactly. Like, this guy's getting fucking old fast. Get out of here, son. Hit the fucking road. But that was probably after. It was really, really, really hard. It was the hardest prop bet that I ever lost. And I actually want to talk to you about fucking playing you in poker, because I heard you're a poker player.
One of the things I did was I went to Vegas for 2 weeks on my own, and I ended up coming home like a year and a half or over a year later, because I just couldn't leave. I was just fucking partying and playing poker, and a year and a half went by like it was fucking nothing.
What's your longest session?
I don't know, over 30 hours for sure.
In one sitting?
Maybe 4. Yeah. Over 30 for sure. Yeah, of just sitting there playing nonstop.
What was your game?
Just Hold'em, no limit Hold'em. I fucking loved it. And when I used to play online,
10-20 though?
No. Like if I was feeling myself, I'd be playing 5-10, but usually 2-5.
The drugs kicked in 10-20.
Yeah. The 2-5 game at the Win is a bigger game, and it's really good. It's like a $1,500 buy-in, and it used to be fucking amazing. Now poker's gotten to a place where like the average player is so much better because of all the shit available on YouTube and all this stuff. So it's not as easy as it used to be to make money. I'm sure actually it is in California.
Well, the internet players were taking over when the internet thing was booming, like Poker Stars, Full Tilt, and then obviously they had that little scandal with Full Tilt and whatnot. But when Poker Stars was out, the Sunday Millions were the best tournaments, the 215 buy-ins. Did you ever play in those things?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were the
Non-stop.
best. Remember
Full
River
Tilt?
Loser?
River Loser?
River
No.
Loser, like the best player on Poker Stars.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts. During high school to like 25, we were like heavy multi-tabling, 9 tables a day. I was playing 9 tables at once.
You still play ever?
I mean, there's no way to play, really. I mean, you can play on an offshore site or something, but it's not like it's sketchy.
And you never go to casinos?
I
Like,
can't
out
play
here?
live. I don't have the patience.
Yeah, see, I love to play live because people don't have the patience.
Right. So
But
like,
I used to be great at playing live because I would take fucking 15 Percocets and I could sit there for 3 days and not even move. You know, like people were like, "Oh, he has a poker face on." I'm like, "No, it's a Percocet face." You
Right.
know, I have no like my I have no facial expressions because I've been up for 3 days and I'm high out of my mind.
Right.
But yeah, now I find it a lot harder to sit at a table for more than like 5 or 6 hours without moving.
right. Yeah. It's just it was fun. Like for me, I just need constant action. So like I needed that, like, and there's nothing better. I used to have like 2 cash games in the top left, the 3 tournaments going. It was, and there was nothing better than when you reach the final table. Like I reached the final table a couple times and they changed the background to like
felt.
the felt.
Yeah.
And it was just like, let's go.
It was like people with cameras. It was like on Full Tilt. It was people like taking pictures of you. Like, oh, you made it.
And then everybody that was like on the bubble and stuff, the good players would take advantage by just shoving fucking over the top.
You have to. I got really deep in a fucking the thing that made me like I don't even want to fucking play poker anymore. There was a event this summer at the World Series of Poker where it was like I forget 3,000 or something people, and there were like 60 people or 40 people left. And I got all in for the chip lead. I flopped a set. We got it all in, and the guy flopped a flush, and it just fucking ran out nothing. And I was like, man, it was. I could still feel it when I talk about it. I'm like, that was my fucking. It feels like you're like every time it's like, oh, that was my shot.
That was your lifetime bad beat.
First place was $1 million. Yeah.
Fuck.
And it was just like, yeah. But we'll end on a sad note like that. I'm a fucking loser, but thank you for coming.
You're not a loser. You're a great guy. You're an amazing guy. And we're gonna pop this podcast up a little bit, and you're gonna pop mine up, and we're gonna have a fucking good talking. We're also, I do want to play Heads Up though. I want to play one game.
Yeah, whatever, whenever, wherever, whatever you want to do. You could make the.
And we'll find out a prop bet, me and you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out on the next podcast.
Like you have to maybe be like AJ Soprano for like 2 days with me or something like that and be in character.
Well, that's pretty close to me. You just keep calling me AJ. It's not that far off.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I just have to be a little bit more of a loser than I already.
Were you a loser in the show?
Days. Yeah. He was like a pussy and a pansy, and you always like this one girl actually wrote into this show about dating me, and one of the lines she put was, "It's okay that you were a little bitch on Sopranos. I still want to date you."
Wow, all right, take this as a compliment then.
Yeah.
Sounds horrific, but
she's a sweetheart. Yeah, she starts off with the dig, and then
definitely got your attention, I bet, right?
Who knows? Oh yeah, for sure. We've read it on the show.
Any girl that messes with me gets my attention. Any girl.
Thank you for coming.
You're the best, dude. I appreciate it so much.
It means a lot.